It's your girl Jade, a premium source of inspiration. And I just wanted to take a second to tell you guys a little bit about my Muse Manifest project and how it came to be and how my life has been completely transformed by a lot of the things that I went through. So Muse Manifest is my unreleased project that will be coming out very soon. I've already released one single from the project called Running. And the music video I just released yesterday, so make sure you go watch it and check it out. Now, a year ago, I'm not going to say a year ago to this day because I believe like last year Easter was on like the 14th and Easter Monday was on like the 15th, if I'm not incorrect. But a year ago on Easter Monday, I actually found myself homeless. Now, how could this come to be? Well, I found myself in this situation because I decided to tell the truth about something to someone. Now, they didn't like what I said to them, so it prompted them to pretty much put me out of their house. And it wasn't like I was thrown out. It was more of a sense of I could feel the energy, the tension in the air, right? And when I told them the truth, an argument sprung up when I didn't do any arguing, but they spewed energy at me. And then once they got everything off of their chest, the anger, then they asked me, when could I leave? And it was almost like word vomit. I was like, today, So I ended up leaving in that very moment, from their house. Ended up getting all my stuff and moving to what I would call my garden. So I lived on the west side, Martin Luther King, Ashby area. And I moved into my garden. And that's how that happened. And I ended up literally living in a tent for 3 months of my life. And I have to say that the situation may sound bad to people who have homes and they could never imagine themselves homeless. But it's crazy because it wasn't that bad for me. In fact, I felt like I was right at home. So, and me telling you this story is just me sharing my testimony as to how God was able to transform my life and my mindset from so many different situations, being homeless, one of them, just one of the situations that helped mold me into who I am today. And of course, I'm still growing. So me being homeless, I had to think quick, right? So I got a tent. I knew somebody who had a tent, right? So I was like, do you mind if I, have this tent? It was like a mesh tent. So it was still a little cold last year around this time. So I literally took fabric and I sewed the fabric on the inside of the mesh tent. So when the wind blew, it wouldn't go right through. And I actually made myself a floor. So I went to a brother in the neighborhood who had wood planks. And I put the wood planks down on the bottom because I knew that if it rained, I'm living out here. The floor is going to be wet from the rain. So I put the wood planks on the bottom, and I happened to be walking the neighborhood, and I found some tiles. So I put the tiles on top of the wood planks. So I literally had a floor and a carpet, a big old old-fashioned carpet in there. So, I kind of built a little house, if you could say that. So this experience, it helped me a lot because, for one, I was on my own with this. I didn't even tell my mom or my dad until after I had already been living out there for one entire month. Because for one, I was afraid of how they would react. Like, my daughter is living outside, you're nuts. And best believe when I told my mom, she was very angry. My dad wasn't that angry because he had been through a situation like that before. But he was homeless in California. But it wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad experience. In fact, it was this brother who would always walk by my area. And he would be singing and stuff. And then he would always stop and peek in there, because it was like as if someone had a field with bushes all around. So it was hedges all around my garden. And then any place that was open, I actually built up a barrier so no one could get back there easily. No one could just walk back there. So it was very secluded. It was like my own little backyard, but I was just living in the tent. And of course I made it very beautiful back there. I kept it clean. I think somebody came and brought me like a bird bath, like one of those stone bird bath things. And that was in the middle of the field. Like, I would just accumulate things that were beautiful. And I would just set it up a certain type of way. And it just looked so nice back there. But the brother, he would be like, you got more peace back there than most people have in their houses. And the thing is that no one came and bothered me. Like, I'm in the middle of the west side, right next to Joseph E. Lowry. That's the street that was running right next to me. Mind you, it is streetwalkers out there, all types of the night, you know, people on drugs, and not to say anything negative about these individuals, because these were the very individuals that knew me, that looked out for me. You know, they are real people. They just have problems at the moment. Okay? So I never will look down upon anybody who is going through their struggle, because my struggle is homelessness. And that struggle is no different than someone having an addiction, or someone, you know, that is in the situation that they are in. But just know that we can always pull ourselves out of those situations if we choose to. You know, it's not gonna happen until we're ready, you know. But I was homeless for 3 months, living in my tent, and it actually was a very peaceful time in my life. I learned a lot about myself and about God, and how He will cover you and protect you no matter what. Nothing bad happened to me. And I didn't even have a job at that time. That's when Corona had first started. And I was actually working, not even working. I made my own job at this corner store in the community. And I would sell like my little items in there, whatever I had, incense, oils. I would make jewelry pieces and sell that stuff. And a lot of people probably remember me promoting. And I'd be sitting outside the store playing my drum for the people. And sometimes they walk by and tip me. So I created ways to keep myself occupied and busy. And I actually ended up helping a lot of people in the community at that time. You know, cleaning up trash around the community. Not because someone asked me to, not because I was getting paid to, but because I was living in the street. So why not wake up? I didn't have anything else to do. Why not wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning and clean up the neighborhood? People ask me, why am I doing this? Just because. You know, if we all did our parts in our neighborhoods, we would be living in a better condition than we are now. Inside the store, some people, a brother with a staff, they called him Moses. His real name was Hakeem. But he ended up bringing me food. I'm like, what you want me to do with all this food that, you know, he brought me? He just was giving it to me, right? So I decided to make free, like, soup and free food for the people and pass it out. So people would come inside the corner store, and in the back I would have food cooking, and I would give them a free meal. You know, just finding ways to keep myself occupied and finding ways to be of service. And in the whole experience, I believe it definitely helped me to become a better individual, become closer to the people in the community, and become closer to God, because these are things that I like to do anyway. So it helped me understand myself more and really realize why I am the way I am, you know? And anyone could have been put in that predicament and felt like, oh, I need money, you know? I need money for this, I need money for that. So I need to compromise myself. Like, I didn't have to compromise myself or my values in order to get money. I didn't have to sell my body on the street. I didn't have to hurt somebody else in order for me to get what I needed, because God always provides. And that's one of the major things I learned from being homeless. Like, I didn't need any food. I wasn't hurting for no food or no money because God provided for me. Nobody even knew I was homeless. I looked like this every day, you know, with my different outfits on. I didn't need no clothes because God sent a person, you know, to me, and I'm still working with them to this day, that I ended up having clothes. I didn't have to worry about that kind of stuff. I ended up selling a lot of my old stuff in the store because, well, when I first moved from my apartment, because I did have my own apartment, I put a lot of my stuff in storage. But when I ended up having to stay with someone else, I did have some items with me. But what I'm going to do with all that stuff in a tent? So I ended up selling a lot of my old clothes. I ended up selling a lot of my old items because, except for what I had in storage, I sold a lot of it because I didn't need it. And even so, when Corona first started, I thought about the stuff that I had in storage, and I'm like, it's just sitting there. So I started making trips back and forth to my storage, grabbing a whole bunch of stuff and just putting it inside the store to sell. Putting it inside the store, clothes, shoes, purses. Like, people who really know me know I used to model. People who really know me know that on the west side I had my own apartment with a walk-in closet and everything. And that closet was full. Was so much. So it helped me to realize that, for one, I'm glad that I'm not a materialistic person and I'm not attached to all of that stuff. I realized that it's stuff I can get back anyway. So I started selling all my stuff, and bottom line, when the time had come for me to leave out of my garden, I think I left July 31st, because I remember being in the garden around the 4th of July when all the firecrackers and all the gunshots were going off. I was out there with my dog, and my dog don't like firecrackers and stuff like that, so he was scared as fuck in that tent. And I had to calm him down because he kept trying to run. So, like, the whole situation taught me that throughout anything, you know, the Creator, God, He has your back. And you don't have to, a lot of the things that people do today out of fear, you don't have to do those things. Fear that, you know, you won't be able to provide for you and your family. So now you have to go do something grimy or slimy in order to get the money so you could provide. These things you don't have to do, because if you really believe, you know, and if you act from your heart, you know, and do what's right and help your fellow man, then those good deeds will, and that good energy that you put out will always come back to you. And that's what I learned through the whole experience. All the good things that I was doing, it came back to me tenfold. You know, these people in the neighborhood love and respect me because I was able to help them when it seemed like I wasn't in a position to help anyone because I was homeless. But little do you know, I had an abundance of items, an abundance of everything. I didn't need anything. I had people coming to me trying to bring me stuff, and I'm like, no, you should give it to somebody else because I have more than enough. My dog wasn't missing no meals. I wasn't missing no meals. I was happy. I was even out there in rainstorms, in my little tent in rainstorms. My tent never came down. I wasn't soaked in there. Like, I was fine. And that's the craziest thing about it. Probably people would not believe some of the things I went through. And nobody ever came back there to bother me. Nobody ever came back there to try to rob me, rape me, hurt me in any type of way. Because the people in the area knew that that was a sacred place. You know, I actually painted life-size Bible verses on. I found big planks of wood, and I paint scriptures on the wood, and I put them around my garden to keep me protected in this time. And I think it definitely worked because words are spells, right? So why wouldn't I want the most sacred words around my space where I'm living to bless my area? People would stop and they would read those signs. Some people would even get emotional when they read those signs, you know. So it really, I saw firsthand the scriptures affect the people in a positive way. And some people would even inquire about what some of the things meant that I had wrote on there, you know. So never take anything for granted. Any situation that God puts you in, it's always a purpose for that. And I didn't feel like, why me, God? Why would you put me in a situation where I had to be homeless for 3 months of my life? What did I do? I know that I didn't do anything wrong. I just spoke the truth, and some people don't like the truth. And if anything, the situation taught me to always speak the truth no matter what. Because if you don't say anything, that person won't learn. And something terrible could come about if you don't say anything. If something bad might come about if you say something, imagine what happened if you don't say anything. Something worse could happen, you know. So he definitely taught me to speak up. It strengthened my faith. It strengthened my power that I already had inside of me to speak. Some people, they're afraid to say something. You know, I'm not going to be afraid to say something anymore. So I'm grateful for everything I have now. Now I have my own spot. You know, I moved out of my garden July 31st into a rooming house. And I stayed in that rooming house until I got my own spot. And the rooming house was not an ideal situation. That's not where I wanted to be. But I knew that something great was over the horizon, so I stuck through. And now I have my own spot. I have 3 times the amount that I had before. You know, and I'm just grateful for everything that I do have. Because I'm definitely living proof that God provides. You know, he always takes care of his people. The ones who have faith and trust and believe in him. And I'm just grateful for the new mindset that I have. The new awareness. The day you stop growing is the day you die. And I hope I never stop growing because I know that I don't know it all. So whenever God puts me in a situation, in order for me to learn, in order for me to transform, then I will forever be grateful for that opportunity. I will always speak the truth. And I'm always going to be myself, the muse. And my project, Muse Manifest, it will be out soon. And it's a clear representation of how you can manifest anything. I don't care what anyone says to you. As long as you got God by your side, you should have no doubts of what you can do, because my God, the God I serve, is limitless and he can do anything. And if I'm an extension of my Creator and I'm made in his image, that means that I can do anything too. So I just hope that this word has encouraged someone to stick through and to keep faith through whatever you're going through at the moment, because it's all a learning experience. And you are in the process of manifesting your reality. And that's what Muse Manifest is all about. Me manifesting everything I ever wanted. And me being an extension of my Creator. And me being proud of that. And me being transformed completely from who I used to be into who my Creator wants me to be. And the day I learned the truth and I learned to walk in the truth is the day my whole life changed. And it doesn't happen in one day, in one instant. Your eyes are slowly opened a little bit every day through each experience, through each individual that you meet. Your eyes are opened more and more. So I'll see you guys soon. Go check out my brand new music video for my song Running. And Muse Manifest is on the way.